No one knows what the future holds like tomorrow. I couldn't tell you what's going to happen. I mean, I'm here. My locker is right next side to, one of the men who means the most to me in the world. And I think about just being able to come to work and see him every single day and how special this could be. So I couldn't sit here and tell you whether I'm going to be here, want to be here, don't want to be here. This is exactly where I'm at now. And I wouldn't rather be anywhere else, So it's something that, like I said, God has a plan. And in the offseason, everything will figure itself out.
That's Odell Beckham Jr. talking about his future with the Browns yesterday in Big Cat. I mean, this does not sound like a guy who is committed to staying in Cleveland. He was talking about Jarvis Landry, close friend of his. That was one of the attractions for Beckham to come to Cleveland. But what gets him to stay there? Based on things he said earlier this year, I think he'd love to play for the Patriots or a team that operates like the Patriots. And I think he's been in Cleveland long enough to know that under Freddie Kitchens, that is not going to happen. And I just really wonder what Beckham wants. He doesn't seem to be all in. Maybe he wants to see who the coach is going to be. Maybe he wants to see what other moves are going to be made. Maybe he wants to see whether or not they're going to offer him a new contract. But it sure seems like he is very ambiguous and non-committal about whether or not he even wants to be in Cleveland next year.
All right, let me throw this out there, Mike. If you're the Browns, do you want Odell Beckham in Cleveland next year?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, Jarvis Landry's had better stats this year, but when you have a guy in Odell Beckham Jr. who is constantly receiving extra attention and double coverage, that's helpful. The problem is it's created extra stress and strain for Baker Mayfield. And I think one of the reasons Mayfield's regressed is because he feels compelled to look at Odell Beckham Jr. maybe a little bit longer than he should. It screws up his reads. And, you want the quarterback to just throw to whoever's open. You don't want him to feel like he has to get the ball to Odell Beckham Jr. If he doesn't, then that's going to be an issue. That doesn't work. So, hey, look, if the Browns can get what they put in by way of draft picks or close to it, I think it makes sense to consider moving on. But you got to act like you want to keep him or you're never going to get maximum value for him in trade, like the Steelers last year got almost peanuts for Antonio Brown because everybody knew they didn't want to keep him. The Browns have to act like they want him.
And this isn't me going at Odell Beckham because he's an all-world talent, but one of the issues the Browns have had this year is noise and having the outside noise. And Odell Beckham has not had any real, Odell Beckham, I'm going to fight something on the sideline moments, but still, Odell Beckham comes with noise, whether you like it or not. So I think maybe if this is your John Dorsey, you're like, we got to minimize the noise. We got to make this Baker's team and just go with that.
And whoever the coach is going to be making that decision as well, and it may not be Freddie Kitchens. Odell Beckham Jr. pushing back against those who interpreted his comments yesterday as an indication he's not happy with the Browns. He tweeted just within the last half hour, "I never said I was not happy in Cleveland. Just like everyone else, I'm hopeful for better results. Period. Next story, please." Nobody said that he said he's not happy in Cleveland, but he never committed to staying in Cleveland. He's left the door open. And you can't, I don't know if it's a maturity thing. I don't know if he's doing it on purpose, if he just speaks and he doesn't realize that those words don't disappear into the ether, that people are going to actually pay attention to what he says. I really do think that's a big part of it. I don't think he has yet figured out that when you say something and you have a name like Odell Beckham Jr., people are actually going to listen to your words and possibly interpret them and try to find the meaning, even if you don't think it means anything.
First of all, thank you for watching, Odell. Hello. Hopefully your morning's going well. I think the tweet came right after we were talking about it. But yeah, this is a classic case of the more you talk, the more it is a snowball that starts when a guy says something to the media responds, then he says, well, you took everything out of context, and the media responds. You know what the best way to do it? It's to not talk to the media and win football games. That's kind of the tried and true method here if you want to talk about not having any distractions.
Well, and I think the key is getting proper training on how to handle those types of questions. It can't just be your inner monologue that gets laid out for the world to hear, because they are going to hear it. They are going to pay attention to it, and we're all going to interpret it however we can. And I interpreted his comments from yesterday, not as he's not happy now, but that the jury's out on whether or not he's going to be back next year. And based on what I heard from him yesterday, I don't think he's going to be back next year. So, You know, and so that's why it works for Bill Belichick. We hate it, but he never says anything that anyone can use against him.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.